In a lively neighborhood, there lived a girl named Aisha. Aisha was 10 years old and was observing Ramadan fasts for the first time this year. She was excited to experience the spiritual journey that Ramadan brought with it. One afternoon, Aisha went to the park to play with her friends. As they were playing, Aisha's friends started teasing her about fasting. They waved delicious snacks in front of her, trying to tempt her to break her fast. Aisha felt tempted but remembered her teacher's words about the importance of patience and self-control during Ramadan. Despite feeling upset by her friends' teasing, Aisha remained calm and composed. She knew that getting into a fight would only spoil her fast and go against the teachings of Ramadan. She decided to ignore her friends' teasing and focused on playing instead. As the day went on, Aisha's friends realized that their teasing was not having the desired effect on her. They saw how patient and strong-willed Aisha was, and they began to admire her for it. Later that evening, as Aisha was breaking her fast with her family, she felt a sense of pride in herself. She had shown great strength and perseverance in resisting the temptation to argue or fight with her friends. She realized that fasting was not just about abstaining from food and drink, but also about controlling one's emotions and actions. The next day, Aisha's friends apologized for their teasing and asked her how she was able to remain so patient. Aisha explained to them the significance of Ramadan and how fasting was not just about abstaining from food and drink, but also about abstaining from bad deeds and negative behaviors. Aisha's friends were impressed by her wisdom and maturity. They apologized once again and promised to be more understanding and supportive in the future. As Ramadan continued, Aisha's patience and self-control continued to inspire those around her. She had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of patience, forgiveness, and self-control, and she knew that these were lessons she would carry with her long after Ramadan. In a small town, there lived a boy named Ali. Ali was 10 years old and was eagerly observing his first Ramadan fast this year. He was excited to be a part of this special month, filled with blessings and opportunities to do good deeds. As the days passed, Ali found himself getting used to the routine of fasting. He woke up early for suhoor, prayed Fajr, and then spent the day reading the Quran and helping his mother with chores. Despite feeling hungry and thirsty at times, Ali remained steadfast in his fast, knowing that it was a test of his faith and determination. One day, as Ali was walking home from the mosque, he noticed his neighbor Abdullah looking sad and worried. Concerned, Ali approached him and asked if everything was all right. Abdullah said yes and didn't tell him anything. Ali went home and told his mother about Abdullah. She explained that they were facing financial difficulties and were struggling to make ends meet. She was also preparing iftar for Abdullah's family. Ali's heart went out to his neighbors. He remembered how fortunate he was to have enough food and clothes. He knew he had to do something to help Abdullah and his family. That evening, after breaking his fast, Ali took out his money box and counted his savings. He realized that he had enough money to buy food and clothes for Abdullah and his family. Without a second thought, he decided to use his pocket money to help them. The next day, Ali went to the market with his mother and bought groceries and clothes for Abdullah and his family. He also wrote a heartfelt note and wished them Ramadan Kareem and placed it in the bag of supplies. When Abdullah received the gifts, he was overwhelmed with gratitude. He knew that it was Ali's kindness and compassion that had touched their hearts and helped them in their time of need. Ali's act of kindness not only brought joy to Abdullah and his family, but also filled his own heart with happiness and fulfillment. He realized that Ramadan was not just about fasting from food and drink, but also about fasting from selfishness and greed, and instead showing compassion and generosity towards others. As Ramadan came to an end and Eid approached, Ali felt a sense of joy in what he had accomplished. He had learned a valuable lesson about the true spirit of Ramadan, to care for others and make a difference in their lives, no matter how small the gesture may seem.
Ramadan had arrived, and the air was filled with excitement and positivity. In a cozy home, a young boy named Omar was eagerly awaiting the start of this blessed month. His mother, Amina, had been preparing for Ramadan and had decided to teach Omar some valuable lessons this month. One day, as Omar was playing with his toys, his mother approached him and asked him to give some of his toys to his friends who were less fortunate and couldn't afford to buy new toys. Omar gathered some broken and unused toys and presented them to his mother. Amina, seeing the broken toys, sat down with Omar and gently explained to him the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. None of you will believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. She asked Omar if he would like to receive broken toys as a gift. Omar thought for a moment and realized that he would not like to receive broken toys as gifts. He understood the lesson his mother was trying to teach him, to treat others as he would like to be treated. With a newfound understanding, Omar went to his room and carefully selected some of his favorite toys to give to his friends. He wanted them to experience the same joy and happiness he felt when he played with those toys. As Omar gave his toys to his friends, he felt a sense of inner joy and happiness. He had learned a golden rule for life, which is, do as to others what you want to yourself. And he should treat others in ways he wants to be treated. He also learned that the true believer should seek this high level of selflessness. In a small town lived two girls, Noor and Sarah, who were inseparable. Noor belonged to a wealthy family, while Sarah's family had modest means. Despite their differences, they found a world of happiness in each other's company. One sunny afternoon, while playing in the park, a group of children began to mock Sarah for her simple clothes and appearance. Noor stood up for Sarah, insisting that clothes do not define a person's worth, but the teasing continued until the girls decided to leave. Upon returning home, Noor couldn't shake off the sadness. Her father noticed her low spirits and asked her what was troubling her. Noor narrated the whole story, her voice trembling as she spoke of Sarah's kindness and the unfairness of the situation. Her father listened attentively, then shared a hadith with Noor. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Verily, Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but rather He looks at your hearts and actions." He explained that Sarah's kindness and compassion made her richer than anyone could imagine, and that these qualities were what truly mattered. Noor's eyes lit up, and she felt a wave of happiness knowing that her friend was indeed very special, not for what she had or how she looked, but for the beautiful soul she possessed. Since then, the bond of their friendship became stronger as they knew that true value lies not in what is external but in the goodness that one carries within. In the beautiful countryside, A group of friends, Ahmed, Fahad, Dua and Hala, were eagerly awaiting the arrival of Ramadan. They were excited about the opportunity to fast and experience the blessings of this special month together. As Ramadan began, the friends gathered every day. Each one of them brings one dish and they break their fast together, eat together, and pray together. One day, as they were breaking their fast, they noticed a young boy sitting nearby alone, watching them with hungry eyes. They learned that he was an orphan and had no family to share iftar with. The friends felt a pang of sadness and remembered the lesson their teacher taught them, to share with those less fortunate. They invited the boy to join them for iftar, and his face lit up with joy. They shared their food and stories, and the boy felt like he was part of a family. The friends learned that breaking the fast together not only filled their stomachs, but also filled their hearts with love and compassion. As Ramadan continued, the friends made it a point to invite others who were in need to join them for iftar. They learned the joy of sharing and caring for others, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. On the day of Eid, the friends gathered once again to celebrate. As they sat together, enjoying the festive meal, they realized that the true spirit of Ramadan lay in coming together as a community, sharing with others, and caring for those in need. And as they shared laughs and memories, they knew that the lessons they had learned during Ramadan would stay with them forever, guiding them to be better friends, better neighbors, and better human beings. In a quiet neighborhood, as the gentle breeze carried the scent of iftar preparations, a group of children gathered with a unique idea for Ramadan. They decided to experience a reverse day, where they would switch roles with their parents to understand their daily challenges and joys. The next morning, the children woke up early, eager to begin their adventure. They started their day as their parents. Humble, pretending to be his father, went to the market to buy groceries. It was a sunny day and Humble felt thirsty, but he couldn't drink anything because he was fasting. After he came home, he took on the responsibility of making iftar, as his father did occasionally. He carefully chopped vegetables and marinated meat, mimicking his father's actions in the kitchen. Hala, taking on her mother's role, tidied up the house and prepared the dining area for iftar. She dusted the furniture, arranged the cushions, and set the table with care, just as her mother did every day. As the day progressed, the children faced the realities of their parents' responsibilities. They struggled to keep up with chores, manage their time, and juggle multiple tasks at once. They washed dishes, swept the floors, and even helped with laundry. Each task gave them a newfound appreciation for the hard work and dedication their parents put into maintaining their home and caring for their family. During the afternoon, as they prepared for iftar, the children realized the effort and care that went into preparing meals during Ramadan. They appreciated the sacrifices their parents made to ensure their families were well fed and happy. As the sun began to set, signaling the time for iftar, the children gathered around the table, feeling a sense of accomplishment. They had completed a day in their parents' shoes, and they had learned valuable lessons along the way. The reverse day had taught them a valuable lesson. Caring for their parents was not just a duty, but a privilege. They vowed to show more appreciation and help out more around the house, knowing that their small gestures would mean the world to their parents. As Ramadan continued, the children put their newfound empathy into practice, showing love and gratitude to their parents in small but meaningful ways. They understood that caring for their parents was a reflection of their love and appreciation for all that their parents did for them. In a small coastal village there lived a young boy named Hamza, who often gazed at the stars, wondering about his purpose in life. One day, while playing near the docks, Hamza overheard the fishermen speak of a legendary lighthouse. They said it held the secret to revealing one's true purpose. His curiosity piqued, Hamza decided he must find this lighthouse. Packing a small backpack with essentials, Hamza set off on his adventure the next morning. The journey was long and filled with challenges. He trekked through dense forests, crossed rushing rivers, and climbed steep hills. Along the way, Hamza met 3 wise individuals who shared valuable lessons with him. The first was a kind-hearted gardener, tending to her plants with love and care. She taught Hamza about faith, explaining, "Just as these plants need water and sunlight to grow, your soul needs faith to flourish. Faith is believing in Allah's oneness and in His wisdom and guidance, even when the path isn't clear." Continuing his journey, Hamza then met a cheerful baker who shared his freshly baked bread with those in need. The baker taught Hamza about the importance of good deeds. Baking bread is more than just mixing flour and water. It's an act of love meant to be shared. Similarly, good deeds are actions that spread kindness and love in the world, the baker said with a warm smile. As Hamza neared the lighthouse, he stumbled upon an old library, where he met a wise scholar. The scholar taught him about the value of seeking knowledge. Knowledge is like a lamp in the darkness. It lights your way and opens your heart and mind. Never stop seeking knowledge, for it brings you closer to understanding your purpose, the scholar advised, handing Hamza a book filled with wisdom. Finally, after days of travel, Hamza reached the lighthouse. It stood majestic and tall, its light piercing through the darkness. Inside, besides a lamp, there was a mirror. As Hamza looked into the mirror, he didn't just see himself. He saw a reflection of his journey, the people he met, and the lessons he learned. It was then Hamza realized that the journey itself was the lighthouse's secret. His true purpose in life was to lead himself and others towards the light of Allah by nurturing his faith, performing good deeds, and seeking knowledge. With a heart full of gratitude and a soul enlightened, Hamza returned home, ready to share the light he had found with everyone around him. In a small town lived 3 close friends, Usman, Bilal, and Yusuf. They were eagerly awaiting the arrival of Ramadan. They were excited to experience the blessings of this special month together. As Ramadan approached, Usman and Bilal, who came from affluent families, eagerly discussed their charity plans. They spoke of donating food, clothes, and money to those in need, their faces alight with the joy of giving. Yusuf, on the other hand, was from a modest background. His heart was as big as his ambitions, but his means were limited. He longed to contribute, to be part of the giving that defined the holy month, but felt disheartened knowing he couldn't afford to give in the way his friends could. One evening, as they shared their plans, Yusuf's silence did not go unnoticed. Usman and Bilal shared a look, their hearts sinking at the thought of their friend's situation. They couldn't do anything except share their things with Yusuf, but he didn't want to give charity this way. Yusuf, trying to mask his sadness, excused himself early, claiming he needed to help his father with some chores. Back home, Yusuf's father, noticing the gloom in his son's steps, asked him what was troubling him. Yusuf shared his feelings, expressing how he wished he could contribute to Ramadan's spirit of generosity, but felt helpless because of their financial situation. His father, a wise man with a gentle smile, put an arm around Yusuf and said, "My son, charity isn't only about giving money. The Prophet Muhammad taught us many ways to give charity. One of them is planting trees. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 'There is none amongst the Muslims who plants a tree or sows seeds, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it, but is regarded as a charitable gift for him.'" They went to their street in front of their house, where Yusuf's father had prepared a young tree sapling and a patch of soil. He told Yusuf, "This tree will grow to provide shade, fruits, and clean air. It will benefit not just one person but many, and every creature that takes shelter under it or feeds from it will be a charitable act recorded for you." Inspired by his father's words and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad Yusuf planted the tree with his own hands, watering it with hope and love. The next day, Yusuf shared his experience with Usman and Bilal. Moved by his actions and the wisdom behind them, they decided to join Yusuf in planting more trees around their neighborhood. Together they worked throughout Ramadan, transforming barren patches into green spaces that promised to benefit the community for years to come. Their initiative soon caught the attention of the entire community. People were inspired by the trio's dedication and the beautiful reminder that charity comes in many forms, not just financial. The friends had not only beautified their town, but had also planted the seeds of ongoing charity, embodying the true spirit of Ramadan. Yusuf learned that wealth is not measured by what one has in one's pocket, but by the goodness one spreads in the world. Once upon a time, in a coastal village, there lived a young boy named Muaz. Muaz loved the sea and spent many hours exploring the beach, collecting seashells and watching the waves dance along the shore. One day, when Muaz was strolling on the shore, a wave came and left quite a few starfish on the shore. He knew they needed to be back in the water to survive, so he began picking them up one by one and throwing them back into the sea. As he worked, a fisherman passing by stopped and asked, "Why are you bothering? There are so many starfish. You can't save them all." Moise looked at the vast expanse of the beach, then at the starfish in his hand and replied, "I may not be able to save them all, but I can make a difference to this one." The fisherman watched Moise for a moment, then continued on his way. But something had changed in him. Inspired by Moise's determination and kindness, he decided to do something himself. The next day, the fisherman returned to the beach with his kids. Together they cleaned the beach, picking up trash and debris left by them yesterday. The fisherman realized that while he couldn't change the world, he could make a difference in his small way. From that day on, the fisherman became an advocate for the environment, organizing regular beach cleanups and teaching others about the importance of caring for the sea and its creatures. And whenever he saw Moaz on the beach, throwing starfish back into the water, he would smile, knowing that they were both making a difference, one small act of kindness at a time. He now believes that a single person can make a difference in the world around them, much like how dropping a single stone can create ripples across a vast body of water. In a bustling city there lived a young girl named Huda. She was a curious and thoughtful child who always had questions about the world around her. One day, Huda had a particularly bad day at school. She felt sad and frustrated, unsure of how to lift her spirits. After coming home and eating lunch, Huda wandered into the living area of her house, where a bookshelf filled with books stood against one wall. She hoped that reading some of her favourite books would help uplift her mood. As she scanned the titles, one book caught her eye. It was different from the others. She picked up the book and opened it. It was written in elegant Arabic calligraphy, and a translation was written underneath each verse. Curiosity piqued, and Huda began to read. To her surprise, she found that the book answered many of the questions that had been swirling in her mind. It spoke of life's purpose, the beauty of nature, and the importance of kindness and other good deeds. The more she read, the more she felt a sense of peace and enlightenment wash over her. Huda spent the whole evening engrossed in the book, reading and reflecting on its verses. As the sun began to set, she closed the book and sat back, feeling a sense of positivity and tranquility. She knew she had found something special. Excited to share her discovery, Huda went to her mother and told her all about the book. Her mother smiled warmly and explained that the book was the Quran, the holy book of Islam. She told Huda about its significance and the guidance it offers to those who read it with an open heart. Inspired by the book, Huda resolved to read the Quran every day to seek guidance and find solace in its verses. From that day on, the Quran became her best friend, helping her become the best version of herself. In a beautiful city there lived a cheerful boy named Mo'iz. He loved the month of Ramadan because he enjoyed waking up early for suhoor and delicious meals at iftar. He fasted and prayed, reveling in the spirit of the holy month. One night, after praying Salah, Mo'iz sat by his window, gazing out at the peaceful, tranquil night. In the distance he could see the glow of the mosque, which was just across the street from his house. As Mo'iz watched, he noticed people heading towards the mosque, even though it was late at night. Curiosity piqued, he continued to observe. He saw a group of people distributing food packages to the needy, while some were on their terraces reciting the Quran and doing zikr. Curious, Mo'iz went downstairs and found his parents and grandmother also praying and reciting the Quran. He sat with his grandmother and asked her about what was going on. Why everyone is awake? She explained that it could be the night of power, or Laylat al-Qadar, which falls on one of the odd nights of the last 10 days of Ramadan. On this night, the Quran was first revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. If one performs any acts of goodwill on this night, they reap the rewards of having performed the good deed for 1,000 months. His grandmother told him that Allah says in the Quran, "The night of power is better than 1,000 months. The angels and the Spirit descend therein by their Lord's permission with every matter. The night is peace until the rising of the dawn." She also told him that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever prays on the night of power out of faith and sincerity shall have all their past sins forgiven." She encouraged Moise to make the most of this blessed night by praying, reciting the Quran, and seeking forgiveness from Allah. Moved by his grandmother's words, Moise decided to join his family in their prayers. He performed wudu and stood alongside them, feeling a sense of peace and closeness to Allah. From that moment he looked forward to all the odd nights of the last 10 days of Ramadan with even more excitement and devotion, so that he could get the reward of the night of power.